Hello, guys, and welcome back to the LFC transfer room for another post-match reaction. This time, Liverpool have drawn 1-1 with newly promoted Luton Town in the Luton Town Stadium, saved by a very late Luis Diaz goal. We're going to discuss it further. Disappointing game, obviously, but I'll preface it by saying apologies if you can hear bombs in the background. It is bonfire night in the UK, so a lot of fireworks are going off. I'll try and mute when I can, but there's a massive party next door, so we move. But joined by three lovely gentlemen, Aaron, Dan, and Colin. Aaron, I'll start with you, mate. How are you feeling after that initial feeling? I've obviously been sitting on it for 15 minutes, but still nice and fresh in there, isn't it? I think you're muted. Dan, I'll start with you. We'll let Aaron sort it out. But Dan, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thanks very much, Charlie. I'm obviously very disappointed because on paper, when you look at this game, it's meant to be 3 points away and 3 points at home, and a comfortable victory is what we kind of expected. And kind of looking at it now, I'm trying to maybe take a big dose of copium, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to just say it's just one of those days. No one was at the races. They were well up for it. They Luton, fair play to them, were fantastic. They were really, really, really good. Defended as a unit, defended to a man, put in big shifts, and ultimately, I don't think we were fully ready for it. And kind of maybe a little bit of kind of sort of complacency kind of setting a little bit that eventually we would get the goal, and it didn't come obviously until very late on, and it did to the rescue. So yeah, I'm disappointed, but it's not the end of the season. We're just gonna have to just move with it and just kind of take the lessons from it and go, right, okay, let's get moving. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Aaron, are you with us now? Or?
Yeah, is that okay now?
Yeah. There we go. How are you feeling initially after that result?
Yeah, similar to what Dan said. It's a kick in the teeth initially because every day there was a lot of hype going into the game. People saying Darwin's going to score 4, Salah's going to get a hat trick, all these things. But at the end of the day, it's one game of football. We're 3 points behind City, playing them in 3 weeks, 2 games time. You beat them, which could happen on the day, and all of a sudden it's title charges back on. You know what I mean? Nothing's won or lost in November. It's one of, like Dan said, it's one of those games. The goal just eventually, we're lucky it came, but it wasn't coming for so long, and it happens. These results. Every title winning team usually has a couple of these results, even if you do want to win the title. Not that I'm saying I expect us to, but we're still there or thereabouts. It's a long season. I think we just have to take it and move.
Yeah, definitely. And Colin, just your quick thoughts before we dig deep a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's a draw that feels like a loss. You just have to take the point and like keep it rolling. Nothing more to be, like the guy said, they defended well. They knew exactly what it was that they wanted to do to us, and the longer it went on, the easier that became to enact. So frustrating, sucks, but you can kind of tell from the beginning it was going to be one of them. But still get the point. Keep it going.
Yeah, definitely. Hello to everybody joining us. Hello, Arthur. Make sure you do leave a like on the stream if you're just joining. Did say at the beginning, but I'll say it again. It's bonfire night in the UK, so a lot of fireworks going off in the background. No, my mother-in-law is not boarded up. Hello. But look, we'll just get straight onto it. I think the talking point for everybody, Darwin Nunez. We've all been laud and praise on him. He's had an unbelievable start to the season. He's missed chances, but Aaron, for me, that one's unforgivable. You cannot be a Premier League striker and miss that. It's not on.
Yeah. It is unforgivable, and especially with how the game panned out, it's a lot worse. It's going to be spotlighted more because it could have potentially won the game. But I think with Darwin, I think that this is what you get. We're going to have to accept this, that there are going to be a couple of these throughout the season, and you're going to hope that they come in games where we might be 2 goals up, 3 goals up, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to affect the result. But it did today, and he's going to get stick for it, which deservedly so. I think all of us here would expect to even score that. But I think with Darwin, he's going to have these moments, but you're going to hope he comes out the other end of it with a 25-30 goal season, and you know, in the grand scheme of things, it shouldn't matter a lot. But for the next couple of days, probably till we play again, he's going to get a lot of stick. But it's been like that since he came in. It's just he's that type of player, and all the good that he brings, that's the other side of him. So.
Yeah, Dan, it's in our group chats, obviously very fresh in a lot of people's minds. I think my kind of thought on it is people are comparing him to Haaland. Haaland, yes, misses them, but in the exact same game, he would score 3 goals. And that's where, at the moment, them two differ. I don't understand how he's missed. Like, I don't even know how he's made that possible. Like, you side foot it. It hasn't even come at him fast. Like, it's a cushioned header down, and you know there's questions. Salah should have probably went for goal, but he's went for the easy option, thinking this is a tap in there. And I think if that goes in, nerves are settled. Luton Stadium gets flat. Their fans, and it's the 3 points that we look like we should have. And look, no taking away from Luton. They had a game plan. They perfected it perfectly, pretty much, apart from an unbelievable ball by Harvey Elliott, which I'm sure we'll go on to. But it's so frustrating having Darwin Nunez as our striker, isn't it? I love him to bits, but it is just a bit annoying at times like this.
Yeah, I've just, funnily enough, while I was looking at it, so I've got the TV on behind me, so I've literally just watched the replay of that chance 3 times back, and it does look as bad each time it happens. It's disappointing because what there was is there's no way that I can defend it and sit there and say, like, it's coming at him at an angle. It wasn't someone he expected, because it's a move. It's a move off the training ground. The movement was there. The header was perfect. The positioning was just fine. The speed of it was perfect. For all he had to do was stick laces on it rather than side foot it. Laces, it goes straight in the back of the net. And as you say, it's 1-0. The game changes. Luton can't play this 11 men behind the ball that they have been playing for the game, which is their game plan. We were creating chances, not just the Nunez one that he completely fluffed. He hit the bar in the first half. He's having a good game. And my unfortunate side is that I think everyone will just have to accept, unfortunately, that this is Darwin Nunez. He will have opportunities, like Aaron just said, where you hope they come when it doesn't matter. You hope he misses the one when, we're winning 2-0. And it's like, and everyone smiles and laughs, and we go, it doesn't matter, and we can laugh about it. But when it's a goal that could break a defence down and make a difference between a 0-0, a 1-1, or a 1-0 to Liverpool, because I genuinely believe if we scored that, it'd have ended 1-0. We'd have just I'd have happily said, that's what we needed. Don't need anything more. And just let invite pressure on from Luton, because I don't think they could have hurt us except on the transition when they scored. And, otherwise, I don't think they could have got through us through open play or even from the set pieces, because the set pieces were quite poor too. It is unfair criticism, though, to put him up against Haaland, because, Haaland is just different, isn't he? Like, he is the pinnacle, he is the key, he is the one who has this unbelievable ability to score goals that just don't make sense. And he had a lot of that last season, and I like to just compare him to who he was last season. And the Nunez I'm looking at now is by far and away a better Nunez than the one we had last year. So that's all that matters to me. It's one game. If he makes a habit of it, we're going to have to obviously hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, definitely. And Colin, I'll just your thoughts on that, and then we'll kind of just fly across the other topics. But it's the main talking points, and I think rightfully so.
Right.
It's cost us the game at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think your point is really valid. Like, within the context of the game itself, I think it is a sort of unforgivable miss. But in the more grand scheme of things, like, you have to move past it. You have to give him another. You have to continue to give him chances. We've been over this, many times here on the channel. He's a volume guy, and you have to continue to give him those opportunities. So it's not something that can be like, and the group chat was hot, and it was like, it was like, we were going to take him out back and stone him. He's never going to be allowed to come back from it, which is just, you have to give them more opportunities. As a professional, within the context of the game, it absolutely can't happen. It's as textbook and as simple of a finish as you can possibly ask for. He's a yard out. But you have to continue to give him chances. And maybe he doesn't start the next one. Maybe he, whatever that might be, but he has to get continued opportunities if he's ever going to progress. And this like one single opportunity and like, well, we'll just chuck him on the bench. He's not good enough. Like attitude is like, frankly, ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hold my hands up. I was, as soon as he missed, I was like, get him off the pitch. Obviously,
yeah.
Over dramatic,
again, like within the
it's
context of the game, like I think that's totally reasonable. Like it's a terrible miss. It's awful. Just as like I think, going forward, it can't be like, well,
yeah,
that puts him on the bench for a month.
Yeah, he's a player who strives off confidence. So I'd want him starting, whatever game we've got next. I think it's Toulouse. So it's yeah, it's a tough one. But again, guys, make sure you do leave a like on the stream if you're brand new. Aaron, I'll bring this question to you. Abinish has said Liverpool won't finish top 4. Is it that doom and gloom already for you, or is that just a bit nonsense?
It's far too early to be making any assumptions like that. I think if you're going to say Liverpool won't finish in the top 4, that's probably what you're talking into the season, and there's not much that's going to change your mind if that's your outlook at the moment. If I had to put money on it, I don't think we're going to win the title, all honesty, but we're going to be right there with the couple of teams that are in and around there at the moment. I think we've seen so much this season positively to think, why not, go all the way with City. I think City probably do have I just can't see anybody tipping them to the title or anything, but I think I'd be comfortable enough thinking 3rd or 4th is a reasonable expectation now, and it's very achievable, and it gives a good kind of, I think a lot of us would have taken that at the start of the season, no problem, considering how last season went into the Champions League another summer to kind of get this Liverpool 2.0 together the way Klopp wants, and then go again next season. But it's November. You can't be making any crazy assumptions. Yeah, and who knows what could happen between now and May.
Yeah, Helio said here, Dan, he gets the missed opportunity by Nunez, but not many people had a good game, which I think is fair. I think out of everybody, our best player was probably Harvey Elliott, and he was on for 20 minutes. He put in 2 or 3 absolute peaches. He passes and he's done this every single time he's come on. I hate the criticism against him. He's an absolute baller. I just don't think he's ready to start for us yet. But what he offers off the bench and what he's proved again today is absolutely, it's irreplaceable what he does. But everyone had the poor game, didn't they? Salah, Jota, even Dominic Szoboszlai. I think the fact that he's played every 90 minutes in the Premier League so far, for him to get hooked off at 60, 70 minutes, Klopp, and especially even with McAllister on a yellow card, I think that speaks a lot of maybe he's tired. It's a lot of football and a new system, but it was definitely his worst game, and I think Klopp made the right decision to bring him off for Elliott in the end. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm just going with what Aaron said. I mean, what I will say is I said this on the last couple of streams. We're in a title race. Whether that title race is the fact that we're going to end up being 6 or 7 points behind City, which is well possible that could end up happening. I still believe we're the only team who has the ability to push City all the way mentally, because we're the only team who's done it. We're the only team who's been capable of pushing in the last 4 or 5 seasons. So one bad result doesn't mean we're now changed expectations and we're now, that's it, it's over. It just wasn't a good game. It's just how it is. We've got away with it against Newcastle when we got 2 goals late on. We've got away with it in a number of matches, and it's okay. Let's just see what happens. Let's go to Toulouse. Let's get that wrapped up in the Europa League, and then the positivity changes. Brentford at the weekend back at Anfield, and then who knows. But yeah, going on about into the performances, nail on the head from the comments of that. Absolutely nail on the head. No one had a good game. Genuinely, nobody had a good game at all. Elliott came on because he was influential in the match, and Charlie, I couldn't agree with you anymore. He is a brilliant impact player. I haven't rated him starting yet. I haven't. There's not a game where I can pinpoint and say he started that match and he was fantastic. He wasn't good against Lask. He wasn't great against Brighton. And they're the 2 that kind of immediately jumped to my head, where he wasn't brilliant with starting, but then he came on against Wolves, fantastic. He came on again today, fantastic. So he's just not quite there yet, but he influenced the game. He was always ready and available. He wanted to get on the ball. He was positive all the time. And to be able to have a player of Elliott's quality who's not good enough to get into your first team, I mean, that's fantastic for us. Elliott would walk into many, many teams in the Premier League easily in their first team. Szoboszlai, he had a poor game against Bournemouth midweek. And to be honest with you, maybe it wasn't the best of decisions to have played him in that match because, again, maybe he looks a little bit tired. He plays a lot of football for Hungary. He's the captain. He plays all their international games. He's played all of our games going forward, 90 minutes. And a number of those matches is with 10 men. For the majority, he's just maybe losing a little bit of steam so far. But that's okay. That's fine. He's still only a young player. He's just turned 23. And he's not going to always be the finished article, Mr. Perfect, you know what I mean? And the man doesn't sweat. He did. It just didn't work out for him. And at the end of the day, praise Klopp, because at the end of the day, the decision to bring up Szoboszlai to Elliott on is the reason we win the game. So, I mean, it's influential and shows that everybody has a part to play in our team. There's not a first team. There's a first squad so far, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely, completely agree. I mean, Colin, we'll talk about it. We'll give him his due. Everything he's been through the past 2 weeks. With his mum, his dad. To say, I think Klopp said he's going to make the decision. He's been training still, and for Luis Diaz to want to play under the circumstances. I know they've said they've released his dad, but it hasn't been confirmed. Mm-hmm. So the amount of obviously stress he's under and to come and score for Liverpool in the 90th minute, it says a lot. And he was definitely missed today when he wasn't playing, wasn't he, Luis Diaz?
Yeah, I thought we were talking about Harvey Elliott and how he's been so good from the bench. I think that Luis Diaz is unbelievable when he starts, and frankly, across his entire history with us off the bench has not been quite as good, I don't think, as he is when he starts. But I think you made this point in the group earlier in the week, which is like sometimes when you have something going on like that in your life that is so impactful and really so heavy and so weighing on your mind, sometimes it is good to have something else going on or something else to kind of take your mind from it. So it's not incredibly surprising to me that he would A, want to be involved, and B, when he does when he did get involved, that he was quite good, and does get the goal. So that kind of like emotionality I think sometimes can build rather than hinder, given the circumstance. But he was awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I'll go around you lads one more time, and then I think we'll end it. We'll keep it short and sweet. Don't want to be too negative, and obviously it is what it is at the end of the day. But Aaron, Toulouse on Thursday, good chance to rest some players, good chance to maybe give someone like Darwin Nunez a chance to maybe bag a goal, get his confidence up. Would you be making much changes for there, or do you think we go strongish, just make sure we get first place?
Yeah, I think there will be changes. Like, we know Klopp likes to make changes for the Europa League and Cup games in general, but I don't think it's going to be a 8-9 changes game because of the result today. Because it's a game it's not a must win, but we really could do with a win just to kind of bring the confidence back up, especially for the players. Some of them, like you said, it could be a good chance for Darwin to get a goal. I don't think Szoboszlai probably won't play, but somebody like that, basically everybody who didn't have a good game today, Salah could easily go out there and have one of them games where everything just goes in. So I think it's more just getting the result. I think if it's a case where you can start strong, hopefully go a couple of goals up, and then just start taking the boys off and get ready for Brentford the weekend. I think the Brentford game is probably the much more important game because you don't want to be dropping points at this stage of the season. You want to just kind of keep the points ticking over. I know we didn't end up losing today. We still got the one, but 3 points on Sunday. I think it's Saturday, Sunday, and then we move on to City. Then kind of just not a clean slate, but you can move. There is a good opportunity to put this behind us very quickly. 2 games in a week. If you want to vote wins, maybe even a draw against Toulouse, it's not the worst thing in the world. Just kind of going into that City game, you want to have a bit of that momentum back. So I think the Brentford game is kind of a huge game. And I think, there will be changes, but not a normal Liverpool complete change of the 11. So enough to win the game.
Yeah, definitely. Dan, I think McAllister's probably nailed on against Toulouse. Obviously picked up a yellow card, so we'll miss Brentford. Great time to rest Dominic Szoboszlai. But I think certain players like your Darwin Nunez, like your Mohamed Salah, will be itching to play that game because confidence is key for them. They're players who have to play, who have to keep on scoring. I would be surprised if them two didn't start. But, on the flip side, maybe Klopp could just be like, look, it is what it is. It didn't go for you today. Get your head down, have some rest, and then against Brentford, we can go for it. Because Brentford is always a tricky game. They always beat big teams each year. And I don't think it's out of question after watching that performance that Brentford could do some serious damage with us, and they have a lot more quality all over the pitch. So it's going to be interesting what Klopp chooses, isn't it, on Thursday?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like Aaron says, we've been caught out a few times, to be fair, with Klopp's Europa League team, because we kind of all expected this sort of like League Cup squad, a very weakened team. But to be fair, he plays like a 70-80% squad. I think Salah will start. I think Nunez will start. McAllister will play the full 90 because why not? Because he's going to be missing the Brentford game. Defense-wise, we'll probably have Kwanzaa. We'll probably have Matip, who hasn't played tonight. Costas will probably play because he didn't start. So we're looking at the team I'm building already, and it's relatively strong. It's not going to be a weak team. So, I think we want to get that job done. I think that's really important for Liverpool because they don't want that round of 32 match. As much as it's incredibly unlikely, I think they want it wrapped up quickly as possible so that we can kind of go, right, that's us finished. Even if we lose the last two, as long as we finish top of that group, it's round of 16, job done, finished. The Brentford game, they are a team who has got the ability to score goals, as they've just shown this weekend, but they also can concede. They conceded 2 goals against West Ham, a really lovely goal from Kudos. I think back at Anfield, back with that passion, back with the last game before the international break, I think we'll have more than enough to beat Brentford, to be honest with you. They are a good team, taking nothing away from them, but the way we've been at home and the way that we play, I think it will be hopefully service back to usual. I'm not going to let this game kind of overcloud the way that we have been this season, because so far this season we've been brilliant. We're allowed a poor game. We're allowed a game that doesn't go our way, and it's just unfortunate it came against Luton. But they all matter just as much as each other, and I think there's a good chance that we might get a result that surprises us later down the line away from home, and we can kind of look to that and go, do you know what? That'll do us.
Yeah, definitely. Good to see you too, James. Matty's on the brink of having a baby, so I'll be feeling it a lot more. But Colin, I'll end it off with you, mate. We've talked about how disappointing it is. I don't think we need to go over it anymore, but it's a good chance to bounce back. And I think we know how much Klopp wants to top this group so he doesn't have to face the Champions League dropouts, which, let's be honest, we should be doing comfortably regardless of what team we play. I think most likely heavy rotated midfield defence and then the attack will probably go strong. But good chance for players to rest and for players to get minutes against Toulouse on Thursday, isn't it?
I actually think it. I think it will honestly be the opposite. I think it's going to be a surprisingly strong team. I think, and Dan sort of made this point as well, which is that I think they want, if you can lock up the group, first place in the group as early as possible, hopefully that leaves you 2 games where you can really just literally throw the kids at it, and it does not matter. I think that is his goal, to try to lighten the load a little later, rather than maybe lighten the load now. And as the stage progresses, I think he wants that to be the time where they'll be really rotated and have more heavily rested. But it is a great opportunity, and it is. The expectation of a really flying performance, I think, is certainly there.
Yeah, definitely. And we will be previewing that match on Wednesday. David, hello. Apologies not getting to your comment, mate. But yeah, I think, go and beat Brentford and go and win a City. And people forget about this game really quickly. So next couple of weeks are very big. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe with the bell notification on. We stream every single day at 7:30. And we do post matches as well. Obviously, won't be doing a 7:30 stream today just because it's so close. But yeah, so appreciate everyone joining. Aaron, Dan, Colin, appreciate you guys for coming on. Hopefully, Liverpool can bounce back on Thursday against Toulouse, but we'll see. But thank you for joining. I've been Charlie. This has been the LFC Transfer Room.